Hello, and welcome to Wyverns Weirdos, a journey home. I'm your Dungeon Master Darby, and joining me as always are Zoe playing Sevia, Emily playing Beatrice, Laura playing Conrad, and Johanna playing Fall. Let's jump into it. Where we last left off, party made their way to the Pillow Trove, where upon a bit of a period of rest and preparation, Conrad found himself face to face with an altered version of his shadow spawn, one that wasn't seemingly made out of shadow, but of amber. A creature that looked to be an amber statue of the devil Strahd, as he was known in Barovia. The figure of Strahd attacked him, and the party came to assist him, and determined that they should probably find somewhere else to rest rather than the big fancy hotel for the night. While Sevia and Fall went to pack their things and Beatrice watched over Conrad, they found an onlooker looking on. A half-elven woman, dragon scales down half of her face and a very draconic looking arm, who introduced herself as Kaliana. Okay. So, what happened here?
A very long story. Very long. Probably
Yes.
not time to talk about it just now. Yes.
Okay. Is it pressing at all?
Hopefully not. You were sent here by our Widowcast, yes?
Yeah, Mr. Caleb. He sent me along because he was saying you were dealing with cultists at Tiamat?
Ah, yes, that's right. Yes, he said you might have some knowledge of this.
Well,
I
yeah.
am Conrad.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Conrad.
Beatrice.
Nice to meet you, Miss Beatrice. Mrs.
Whatever.
Whatever, Beatrice. Just kidding. Just a little bit of a joke. So, what has been happening with the cultists that you've been facing?
Well, it depends on where you want to start, I suppose. Foremost, I suppose, I spoke to one apparently yesterday, and there appears to be some sort of closet sect thing involving tattoos. I'm not too sure. So that was interesting. But not interested unless you already know about them. So that's about as far as I got there. Cult, however, though, yes, led by potentially a fellow named Arkan, it appears. So that is what I know. Connery kind of just like still looks quite distracted, but he's just kind of just like he's trying to focus, but his gaze just keeps sliding just like into the distance at like nothing basically.
Can.
We also
That name sounds familiar, but I can't place where from.
he is originally from he has spent time around here before. In Caldore?
Caldore, yeah, I've not been there, but I know the place. Know of it.
Something about the hand of Vecna. I don't know. It seems that he might be trying to raise an army.
Ah, yes, that too.
Yes.
Neither of those are good things.
No.
I don't know much about I don't know much about Vecna, but I don't think that Vecna is ever an artifact of Vecna is ever a good sign.
No, it does not sound like it, or at least not whatever designs Arkan has for it.
All right. So, is it just there's two more of you? Am I right?
Yes, they're just packing their things.
Okay. All right. Do you two need to pack?
I'm ready to go. I'm always ready.
Yes, I am ready now, so I can remain here. I'm sure they should not be too long.
Okay. Fall and Sevia, are you doing anything in particular while packing, or?
Feeling pain.
Yes. How is Sevia looking? How is she affected by the attack?
She got hit by a lot of necrotic, if I remember correctly, because she got blighted like 3 separate times.
Yeah.
So and for the audience, I know it's only been a week for you, but just to really hit the point home, she did get knocked unconscious for the specific point of hurting the party's feelings. So she doesn't look all that great. She probably looks very sallow. She probably looks very, like, her skin probably looks a little tauter than normal. She probably looks a little gaunt. She has one hand that was necrotically burned by a book of Conrad. That hand probably look worse than the rest of her body, because I don't believe she'd managed to fully recover from that when this happened. So I believe the fingers on her right hand would be like through the wrapping would just look almost skeletal in nature, and then the rest of her just looks very, very gray, and all that. But she's very methodically like packing her things and putting things away and trying to look very busy because she doesn't want people to worry. So she's just like bustling around the room and trying to make sure Fall's got all their things and very mum mode, you know.
Nice. Yeah, I think Ford just kind of be like, just like shoving things in their pack, probably grabbing like the complimentary soaps automatically, or like whatever else is in the hotel room. But you just like, they just keep like darting their eyes to Sevia and just be like, Sevia, a moment, and just
Yes.
your hand. It looks awful. Let me see.
Oh, it's fine. Conrad bent. Oh, I hadn't looked at it yet. Oh, God. Okay, yes, please look at it, sweetheart, please. Oh.
Yes. No, that's
Holds her hand out.
looking good. I think I've got a fair bit more magic in me. I'm here. And he kind of just like gently holds her hand and like brushes some fingers over. And that's 7 and an 8, so 15 points of healing.
Oh.
How are you feeling? That was awful.
Oh. We've been through worse. I mean, it didn't feel great. I'm not going to lie to you, but it I mostly that was Strahd, wasn't it?
Something like it.
He just appeared out of the form of what was Exley. I saw him over Conrad's shoulder. He just
We need to get to the bottom of whatever is happening there.
Oh yes, I mean,
Attached himself to Conrad, some weird side effect of Conrad's magic?
oh, I don't know if I'd go that far. I mean, that he hasn't shown up before. Has he? Maybe we just, and she looks down at her hand again and she goes, maybe we just haven't been paying enough attention.
Maybe so. I mean, yeah, I can't say I know a lot about Conrad's magic, and he can be hard to talk to. But I mean, I'm sure if Strahd had appeared earlier, he would have brought something up.
Yes, it's not that I think Conrad knew, it's that I don't know. I don't know why Strahd is here. Which means we can't fix it. And we are without a lot of our help. We are... Well, I now realize what it must have been like every time we walked into an area with books, because we've lost Mordenkainen into a font of knowledge, and I doubt we'll see him until he resurfaces. And then there's just... we're moving places, so I don't know if Caleb or Lionette or Beauregard are going to be able to find us. I don't know if this Kalliana is going to turn up. I don't... We're meant to be looking for Arkan, and then Strahd just arrived. I'm sorry, this isn't what you asked me. I'm just...
No, I
trying
get
to
it.
think about how we're all going to get out of this.
It is a lot that's going on, I think. But tell you what, we don't know what's happening yet. I mean, we have all these weird, powerful people on our side, and maybe if we can just get more information or get some help from the right person, we'll be able to figure it out. I mean, people are always telling me one step at a time, and it's very, very hard to do, but we'll get there. I mean, we can figure this out.
We've been through worse.
Hey.
Yes?
It kind of goes in for like a hug. It's like, I know it's awful, but you're being really brave and strong. I mean, it was quite the hit
Well,
that
we
you
all
took.
have to be. We have to be, don't we?
Yeah, we don't have to be. I mean, we can always run off and find a new life or something. But
I've already found a new life. And I want to combine it with my old one. I don't want to lose what I had for living a lie. We are not from here. We are not of here. I want to do good for our home, the way we have done good for these places. And I want you with me. And I want Beatrice, and I want Conrad, and if we can get his big metallic behind to talk to us, and I want Exley there as well. Depending. So we have to be brave.
That's right. Pray for a good future with all of us.
All of us. We've got a good little group, and I think once we're no longer in constant states of peril, we can all actually be a family, maybe.
Yes.
Not all by blood, but I found one.
Yes, that would be wonderful.
I mean, that being said, what's to bet that Beatrice will wander off into the woods as soon as we get back to 𝗖𝗓lor and we'll never see her again, or Conrad will, I don't know, become a horse farmer and live on a ranch, wear a funny little hat.
Well, he is good with horses, but oh goodness, that would be the poshest farm ever, I think.
Probably. Be the only place in the world where the horses eat caviar.
Yes, absolutely.
But they'd be well looked after. And I think he'd be happy.
Yes, here we go. Maybe we can run that idea by him, and that can be some of the motivation that he's been lacking in.
I mean,
Be a good goal for us all.
between you, me, and the garden wall, Conrad is, well, you've probably noticed he has not been doing great. None of us have, but I worry about him. You know, I worry about all of us because that's kind of what my brain is just like. And I worry about you in particular because if I lose you, I may cry a lot. But, you know, he just needs the right people around him, I think. I don't think he's ever had a real family before.
No.
And I don't think he accepts us yet, which, fair. We were very mean. I was very mean to him. You were very nice, but I was very mean when we first met. And I'm rambling again. I'm doing the thing. And she like puts her head in Fall's chest and just kind of flumps there for a second.
No, it's fine. I think that's the only thing to do with all these thoughts and worries. I get it entirely. They just like hold her.
Thoughts are stupid.
Yes, I've thought that a lot. But no. We'll sort this out, okay? It'll be okay.
Right. So, eventually, the two of you finish packing, and I imagine return to the rest of the group. And where you see that Beatrice and Conrad are talking with this strange half-elven woman who has a draconic horn and black draconic scales down half of her face. Oh, hello. You must be Mr. Conrad and Ms. Beatrice's friends. I'm Caliana. I'm Mr. Caleb's friend.
Oh, hello. It's nice to meet you.
Oh, the person Master Wintergaster sent.
Yeah. And Beatrice and Conrad have caught me up. And it probably is a concern regarding Mr. Arkin and what he's doing.
Yes, he's definitely a very concerning person.
A rather significant concern.
But the good thing is, I don't know much about Arkin, but I know a bit about the cult of the Caustic Heart. The one of Tiamat's primary cults. Here.
Oh, I see. So would you know about what they're up to then?
Not a clue.
Just more... Would you know how to get in contact with them? How to, like, spy on them or something?
What do you know?
Perhaps hallway is not best place to have conversation.
Yeah.
Point.
Yeah. Good idea.
Yes, good point. Where should
Right.
we go then? Cara just flatly looks at Beatrice.
Beatrice would just sort of shrug and then start walking.
Fair.
Because in her travels of the city, she would have walked past another tavern at some point.
Yeah.
She's gonna head for one of the ones that she saw.
All right. So
Conrad slopes after her. He doesn't say anything to anyone. He's very quiet.
roll me a perception check for what particular taverns might have crossed your line of sight in a way that you would have noticed.
$25.
25. So yeah, where is a decent one? Okay. You spotted within the Pentamarket a tavern and inn known as the Lodge of the Eclipse. It's not particularly flash, but it's not rough and tumble either. It advertises having nighttime shows of various types, depending on what bards they have in, and yeah, it's you see there is still a sign with rooms for let out front.
Beatrice leads everyone in.
All right. So you see behind the bar, as you enter this warm, like homely tavern, there is a small three-piece band, a lute, drummer, and a flautist playing on a small stage off to the side. And you see behind the counter is a small halfling man. You gather that he's probably standing on some sort of like raised block or runway or something to be at that at height with most taller folk. He has black hair, bushy sideburns, and he catches the four of your eyes as you approach. As you say, how can I help you this fine evening?
We noticed we need somewhere to stay, and there's a sign at the front saying rooms for lit.
I can certainly help you there. How? I've currently got 3 rooms left tonight. How long are you planning to stay?
1 or 2 nights.
1 or 2 nights. Okay, I can probably leave all 3 of those rooms for 2 nights. So I see there's 5 of you. Do you have this may seem indelicate, but
The 3
bedding
rooms.
arrangements. Yes.
It's all right. Those 2 are together, and Beatrice sort of gestures at Fallen Savior.
Yes, we can share.
Okay, and as for the other 2 rooms, how is that going to be split up? Single, double, well, pair of singles, rather, double.
We'll probably turn to Kellyanne and be like, are you like staying with us? Is that weird? Do you have like a house to go back to?
Well, I can find a place. I can do some things, but I guess now that I know where you are, it'll be easy enough to find you. So,
Yes.
So it is 4 people staying then in the 3 rooms. Okay. Okay, that is easily done. Okay. The rooms are a gold a night. But that does include your complimentary breakfast. Dinner and drinks are extra, other than, of course, a complimentary glass of milk or juice in the morning with your breakfast. But lunches and dinners, that isn't covered by your room cost, basically. And any extraneous drinks you might want throughout the day. But other than that, that will be. We'll look at 3 gold for tonight, and we'll confirm tomorrow whether you're staying the extra night.
Beatrice hands over 3 gold.
And he hands you with one hand while pulling the 3 gold towards him with the other 3 keys.
Thank you.
Enjoy your stay.
Beatrice will then sort of turn around and look to see, are there any sort of tables free in a corner or off to the side?
Roll me a perception check.
23.
Yeah, there's you notice there is like a table that is hidden away in a corner, basically, that would very much afford you the best privacy of any spot in this tavern.
She turns around back to the barkeep and she'll buy a round.
Okay. Round for the 5 of you, is it? What would you like to drink?
An ale, whatever your nicest wine is for that one. Sylvia, for Kellyanne?
Oh, I'll just have milk, thanks.
Juice, please.
Yes, juice. That's so rare.
All right. So
Big hearty people.
So that will come to 1 silver, 3 copper, all up.
She rifles around in a little bag and hands over the money.
Wonderful. I'll have Lucy over there bring it over to you shortly.
Thank you. And then she walks off to the table that she saw.
All right. I know Kaliana follows you. I'm assuming everyone else does as well.
Yeah, Conrad follows. He's quite quiet. He's quite chastened. I think when Beatrice is like, "Oh, I'll pay for this, and also I'll buy you a nice wine." He just looks very quiet. He's just kind of just like holding like his bag of his things just like in front of him, just like very clinically, I guess. But he does sling it down and just like swing everyone to sit down at the table as well.
All right. Yeah, and the sound of the music bustles over the kind of cuts through the crowd, which you feel will probably give you an extra level of privacy. Like, it'll be hard for, as long as you're not being overly loud, it's going to be hard for your conversation to be picked up with like both the other conversations in the room and the music floating throughout. All right. So, Cult of the Caustic Heart. I was raised by them because of this whole thing. I was special, so they wanted to raise me or sacrifice me.
Sounds like something they do.
I mean, it was quite a nice childhood up until they, or at least made that decision known to me.
Cults are all the same.
Yes, cults.
My condolences.
Must have been a difficult point in your life then to find out what their true intentions were.
Yeah. So I ran off with a bowl that was somewhat important to them. And that's when I met Mr. Caleb and all his friends. And since then, I've been around trying to work out my powers and work out stuff regarding the cult. See what they're working on. Try to find others in my circumstances and help them.
Very noble of you.
I don't want others to suffer. So, what is it that you four have had in regards to involvement with the cult or with Archon?
We were on another plane
Yeah.
in Avernus,
Yes, in hell.
Oh,
which is where we
oh
met.
wow. Impressive.
Which is where we ran into Archon.
Makes sense that he would
He
be in hell.
stole something from a friend of ours, and we were trying to get it back, and he double crossed us and was attempting to open portal to let Tiamat through to Exandria. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I take it that's how you got here.
We tried to. Yes, we tried to stop him. He threw Conrad through the portal, so we all came through as well.
Okay.
But it didn't quite work properly because it didn't let Tiamat through yet. So he must be building up to it.
Okay. Well, I don't know where he would find an army other than bringing the cults together. And about all I can say to that is that the leader of the cult of the Caustic Heart, last I heard, she was in Port Damali.
When you say
Well,
cults,
I
I'm
mean,
assuming
followers of Tiamat.
yes, but
Yes.
Right, it's just the plural sort of are there people who worship maybe one particular head of Tiamat at a time, and that is maybe what Arkan is trying to
Don't think it's so much that as it is that there might be different groups that that follow Tiamat in different ways. But as far as I'm aware, the cult of the Caustic Heart is the main one. They'd be the ones that Arkan would probably be going to first, I would imagine. If he knows anything about the cults to Tiamat here in Exandria.
So he is not the leader of the cult. He needs to enlist them. Okay.
Wouldn't he be able to gather all the cults together if they're splinter groups? Do you think he'd be able to bring them together under his leadership?
Very
Depends.
charismatic.
That's true.
If he's some random follower, then he might struggle to get support from the fringe groups. The cult of the Caustic Heart will probably go in for it because they have that goal themselves, trying to free Tiamat. But on the other hand, if he is a champion of Tiamat, then he might very well be able to convince them all quite easily.
I think he did mention something about being champion.
You certainly spoke of that, so I suppose it depends on how eager they are to unify or split their cause, I suppose. He was certainly very charismatic.
He can convince most people of most of anything from what we saw.
Interesting. All right. Have you... Mr. Caleb was saying that you fought one of his friends? One of his generals? Something like that?
Yes, the turtle one. Turtle.
Conrad
a
looks at
mask?
Sevia.
Sevia looks at Conrad and has a very pinched little look on her face because she knows exactly why he's looking at her, and then she goes, yes, a dragon mask.
Interesting. Then Conrad goes back to looking at because he's been looking very pointedly at the table, but at the exact point, he does look very pointedly at Sevia and holds that for a moment until Sevia relinquishes that information.
So, I'm guessing from your garb and the equipment you've got, 𝗖𝗔𝗦𝗧, that you're the wizard. Or at least the magic person.
I
of the
dress
group.
like a wizard? Well, yes, you're not wrong, but I'm
I
now
mean,
hit
you're
with
an
an existential crisis about the
you're
way
an
I
adv-
dress.
You're an adventurer not wearing armor
Well,
and
you don't know.
without
It could be
any
concealed.
weapons on your person.
I could have a weapon. No, you're right. I'm just trying to be silly. No, yes, I am the mage.
Okay. Have you identified the mask at all?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
It does a lot. You'll forgive me for not.
You can just say you tell her the
Yeah. Well,
traits
no.
of the mask.
I'm also just gonna say.
Okay.
You will forgive me for not pulling it out in a public space, but
Yeah, that is
and then
probably
she
for the
tells
best.
her. And she tells her all the things she knows.
Okay.
Full is definitely like kind of like in a protective stance around 𝗖𝗧𝗦𝗧, and I rolled an 18 insight check on Kalyana too.
Oh, and
Okay.
while this is happening as well, sorry, Conrad has been looking quite. He's just been disassociating, but he has at this point he's paying more attention to people around. He just wants to make sure that there's no one paying close attention, like the fun nobleman he met last time and that kind of stuff.
Okay, roll me
And also
a
it's easy because
perception check.
Beatrice is also keeping an eye, like she is listening to the conversation, but she's also sort of keeping one eye on everything else that's happening.
So that seems a bit more passive, so I will keep that in mind. Conrad?
21. I forgot how
21.
good his perception is.
Okay, you don't pick up any suspicious behavior at the moment. So you do spot someone a table or two over cheating at a game of cards.
Yeah, he starts paying attention to that, like, oh yeah, okay, doing good, yeah.
Paul, Kalyana seemed friendly. She doesn't seem to be paying any extra attention to 𝗖𝗧𝗦𝗧 compared to the rest of you, as insofar as like outside of stuff. Like she's obviously 𝗖𝗧𝗦𝗧 now because 𝗖𝗧𝗦𝗧 has the information she needs, but like, she's not. It's no more than anyone else.
Okay.
All right. I think that I have heard of those. They're artifacts that the common thinks. They're like vestiges. They're items that
Right. And you would.
at least
Ooh.
Right. I was about to say the fact we have one kind of puts a real kibosh on their plans, but if they could theoretically succeed with two, then.
still impacts them.
How many do you know that there are?
There are 5.
Oh dear.
There are very specifically 5. One for each of Tiamat's heads.
Ooh.
2 or more of them can be combined into the Mask of the Dragon Queen, I believe it's called. The name translates slightly differently depending on where you get your information from, but something along those lines.
Right. Okay. So potentially, one way to stop Arkan, if we cannot find him, is at least to get as many of these masks as we can.
Possibly, but if he's already got access to some, it might not be that simple.
True. I don't think there's a...
How long have you been here?
Days?
A few days.
Few days.
Not
Okay.
long.
So, in the scheme of things, though, we don't know what kind of contact Arkan has had with this plane of late, do we?
No, I know he was in hell. He was struggling to get any sort of contact with Exandria. That's why he needed to steal from our friend.
Contact or pathway? Because those are very different things.
Well, I don't know. He wasn't very clear with us. He was intent on double-crossing us.
Good point.
Conrad's still looking at the person shooting cards, but he does like turn his head back over for a moment, incline his head towards looking over Sevia, and then incline his head towards Galiana, and it's like, regardless, one of his generals was already in possession of the thing Sevia has when we got there. And that was not long after we arrived here, so
Yeah.
it is best to assume he is fast, or at least exceptionally lucky. And then he slides his gaze back to you, watching what's going on.
Yeah. Or potentially both. Look, Kaliana, I don't want to sound as if I'm being braggadocious, but we have sort of saved worlds before. And there is not really a world in which this ends without us having to confront Arkan in some way. The question is just how much can we do to make that future easier? You've given us a lot of good information, but the only thing I can think of is, bearing in mind I'm not maybe working at my best mental capacity, maybe we head to this port
Damali.
Maybe see if we can cut off any potential contact he has with the Caustic Heart leader.
And even if he's got contact with her, I'm guessing unless he has 4 other lieutenants with him, then she is probably someone that he's entrusted with a mask.
All right, so we could get a mask off of her at least, or at the very least, I don't know, maybe turn her against Arkan.
Don't think that's likely.
Well, we can have but hope, Kelly. Oh no, you've been dealing with them your whole life. They tried to kill you. That's, yes, fair. Look, I'm not saying I don't want to kill a cult leader. I am just saying there are often many options. And, you know, if we kill her, we risk potentially making a martyr for the cause. If instead we maybe find a way to convince her that Arkan is doing it for himself and not for a real love of Tiamat, maybe then at least the next in line won't immediately fall into Arkan's pocket.
I don't think it's likely.
There are always options. I'm just putting some out there. It's the one we have at the moment, is to follow up that lead and see where it takes us, isn't it? I'm not the most tactically minded, but I don't know.
Well,
Unless there's something very obvious I'm missing.
the good news is there is an archive of the Cobalt Soul in Port Damali. You have worked with already.
The morning. In the morning?
Well, you don't want to go annoying Cobalt Soul.
Is there a place called the Morning here? MOUR?
No.
She looks to Fall and she goes, have I misinterpreted the sentence?
Beatrice is like, yes.
Yes.
I believe what she's saying is it would be best to go and talk to the Cobalt Soul in the morning about helping us get to Port tonight.
Oh, sorry. I thought we've all had a very long day. Miss Galliana. So forgive me. Not all of my brain is within my skull at the moment. No, yes, we can speak to the Cobalt Soul. They should be able to help, and potentially even our friend has maybe discovered some information that can help us as well. He's very smart. So.
Ahead of going tomorrow, anything you need, but I will meet you. We'll go to the Cobalt Soul. Yeah, Port Damali.
Thank you.
Yes.
Sounds like plan. Much appreciated.
Yes. Thank you for your help.
And she walks out. I will say, because I completely forgot about, like, at some point during that conversation, you would have paused as your drinks arrived, and yeah.
Feels very excited.
Oh, good juice.
This costs like a month's pay back in Palas. He's just looking at all of the orange juice.
We need to talk to someone about the economic system of Palas. That. Anyway, Caliana, and we would have continued. Yeah.
All right. So, is there anything folks want to do before bed?
Is there anything anyone needs before we head off again?
Supply-wise.
Yeah.
Any shopping folks want to
Paul
do?
can offer to go on a supply run if anyone needs anything. Eggs, milk.
Connor probably just wants to go for a walk. Yeah, I don't know. He probably just sits there looking quite distracted while we're sitting here at the table, just deliberating this.
I can't think of anything I need, but if you think of anything we need, then that's good.
Yes, absolutely. I'll just stock off and have a look around. I'll be back soon.
Wonderful.
Have fun.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So, is there anything in particular that you are looking for on your...
Well, considering we're going to be leaving the city soon, I'm always going to remember. I believe, Darby, you mentioned off pod that there is a shop that sells smarty literature.
Yes, there is a store in the believe in the Tri-Spire, yes. Called Chastity's Nook.
Oh
That
boy.
you can find, and yes, you find this building resembling a thatch roofed cottage with beautiful cursive handwritten sign writing above the door. And stepping in, you see a lush, cozy interior inviting back room. Front room is one long chamber, shelves and central table. Progresses from towards shelves and stacks of books. Painted covers space between these, leading towards the back room where large scrolls of what appear to be beautifully painted nudes.
If Beatrice knows that Fall is headed in that direction, Beatrice would follow along.
Oh gosh, okay, in that case they were probably walking together and Fall's like, where are you going, Beatrice?
Just looking around.
Fair, yeah, I just noticed a shop when we were walking the other day.
I hear there's something interesting around here.
Yeah. And Paul's just gonna be like, probably like really uncomfortable until they make their way to the bookstore. And just be like, for research.
As you're entering the store,
Yeah, sure.
you see a woman in her 50s, 60s, hard to tell, with precision. She has wild, curly, mousy brown hair that's sort of greying and white in places. And she's wearing a heavy sweater and big glasses. It's like, oh, so I'm Iva. How are you this evening?
Yes, good. Nice to meet you. I'm Fall.
Oh,
Not bad. Beatrice.
Pleasure. So how can I help you today? We have quite the collection. If you're interested at all. We have rugs, tapestries, candles, scented and unscented, oils, incense, and we also have a wonderful collection of novels, of specialty novels.
Beatrice nudges Fall and is like, oils are fun.
What is that?
Oils.
Okay. Just like looking around at the tapestries and such as well. It's just like, yeah, it's certainly quite a store that you have.
Were you purchasing anything today?
The cat is just yes, I would like to have a look through some of the novels.
All right. So I'll give you the. We have Tusk Love, Ascent of the Sea, The Rosed Embrace, Guard of My Heart, Zemnian Nights, Enchanting Tryst, Shallowed Breath, and we've just gotten our first shipment of a new Courting of the Crick that's recently been been removed from the ban list.
Oh, wonderful. That's good.
Oh, it wasn't banned due to any objectionable content. It was banned because of war tensions that were going on a few years back.
Oh no, fair. That makes sense. In the interests of research, do you have any that have like a trans man and a woman or something for like mechanics,
Let me see,
information?
Oh, you're looking for information. So this you don't want smart for that. You don't want these specialist novels for that. They are very bad examples of what to do. They are written more to arouse and entice than they are as instructional.
Really? Huh.
They take
Quite right.
they take certain creative liberties that can lead to a lot of upset and disappointment if taken as instructional
Oh, I see.
for all parties involved.
Oh, yes. I can't. My apologies. Then I decided.
And the same goes for a lot of the portraits you can see back there. Some of those positions, not at all actually viable. They just just
very comfortable.
those positions are designed to show off more, not to actually induce pleasure.
Yeah, that looks like some of the acrobat stuff.
Oh, you're an acrobat.
Yes, yes, a straight acrobat.
Wonderful. Well, I hate to pry, but what sort of baseline knowledge are we working with here? I don't need to know experience. That might be a bit too personal, but what baseline knowledge? You don't have to be too explicit with it, but what... Are we
Paula's
talking...
just like looking over at Beatrice and just like...
Would you like me to leave? And Beatrice just walks further into like the back of the shop to have a browse while Fool is being awkward.
That would be nice.
Are we talking absolute beginner? Are we talking read one or two manuals? Or skimmed through a few things?
I know about biology. I've learnt about science.
Okay.
I know how babies are made.
Yeah, that's always a good start.
Just not a lot of talk about, what it's like living in a monastery.
Of course. Let me see what I can find. And she rummages around in a shelf within like the corner of more plain looking books. And she brings one out and it's like, okay, this one should you should find this one helpful, I would hope. It is 3 silver pieces is the cost of it. And it is very, very it goes through the basics and even some as you get through some more elaborate things, but it doesn't makes sure not to put it crassly. Very delicate in its language. It keeps things chaste, but not too chaste in the way that it puts things.
Excellent. Yes, that sounds perfect.
It's it is a little more on the romantic side of things rather than the explicit side of things.
Mm.
We do have instructional books for those as well, but I think if you're just getting into this, always good to start with the basics and work your way up from there.
Yes, that's fair. Just see if where things go. I do. Yes, thank you.
Yes.
I will get that one.
There we go.
He's
So that is 3 silver pieces.
like fumbles in his coin purse, trying to find it like awkwardly, and this is like 3 silver. Have 4 silver.
Thank you.
There we go.
Thank you. And she hands over the book. Is there anything else I can help you with today, or was that all?
No, that would be all, unless my friend Beatrice wants anything.
Or, madam?
Beatrice is buried somewhere in the stacks.
Anything
She's just poking around.
Anything caught your interest?
Not as yet. Do you have anything about lesbian romance? Smut, whatever.
Well, the Rosed Embrace is a wonderful tale along those lines, and it is one of our best sellers.
How much?
2 silver. Well, 2 silver for the paperback, or if you would like to splurge, we have a hardback for 1 gold.
I'll get the hardback.
All right. And all right. So here is 1 hardback copy of the Rosed Embrace. And I hope you enjoy
Thank
that.
you. I'm sure I will.
Happy reading
Wink.
to the both of you.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
And I take it you leave and grab
And off they trot.
yes. Just
Paul's just like, never mention this to anyone, okay?
all right.
To Beatrice.
Just briefly, are there any supplies that you are getting while in town? Like while out and about? Or that's the only
Rations, probably, yeah.
Rations?
Yeah.
Yeah. all right.
If they pass somewhere where there's rations being sold,
All right.
pick up a few.
Yeah, you can manage to get. Let's see. You managed to find one supply store that's still open that's selling rations. And they have 5 days worth of rations in stock. Which, if you want to buy all 5, will run you a total of 2 gold, 5 silver.
Sure.
Alright.
Fooled by that.
Alright.
Yeah.
And so after going for supplies,
2 gold,
you,
5 silver.
You make your way back to the tavern, with supplies and books in hand,
Yes.
and that is where we're going to leave it for this week.
Or hidden away.
Yes.
See you next week, everyone.
See you next
See you
time.
next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Sorry for listening.
Sorry for listening.
Yeah, sorry for listening.
Uh,